by sharing a fan bragging story of great customer service by using the hashtag FanBrag or calling the Fan Bragging hotline at 855-FAN-BRAG, FANBRAG. Now back to Angel and Eric, the Experience Pros.
The ghosts and goblins are alive and well. Welcome back to the Experience Pros radio show. Very nice to have you back.
Very nice. Very nice. Here, I thought I brought in a can of Lysol today to clean the germs.
That's what happened.
Right? Cleared out everything in the whole studio. So what is the scariest thing that has ever happened in your business?
Ooh. Well,
that's kind of our Halloween theme, right?
Right. We found a pretty decent article after Negrea wrote an article on the 4 scary things that can happen to your business online.
Online.
Yep. So we thought we'd talk a little bit about that. And here, you've been working on building your business online. Your systems are in place. You got a great strategy. You're making money, right? But you're not on easy street because there are things and people out there who are trying to take you down. Number one, you could get hacked.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And unfortunately, hackers are real, and you need to stop thinking they're never going to find you.
No, because they're not looking for me. They're looking for somebody else.
You know that I'm the biggest person who bangs that drum, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got a Mac. Macs are untouchable. Nobody's going to hurt me. I've got no problem. 17 years, I've never had a problem until last week. And last week, I told you, I think I might have caught a virus or something, some malware,
Do you need me to spray my Lysol on?
Don't touch. No. No. Please don't do that. But what could happen?
We've actually seen some, many people that you wouldn't even think, like, why would somebody even bother? And I think that's often what we think is I'm too small or unknown enough. Like I'm not as much of an influencer. Why would somebody? Because they're bored, and who knows? There's no logic to it.
Right.
But make sure that you are using your passwords, updating your security, whatever those little those updates, security updates,
the little hacks that come up and
make sure that you do that. If you've got somebody that leaves your company,
patches, that's what they call.
No, just the update, just like the software updates. Make sure you're doing the software updates.
Yes. When somebody leaves your company,
that you change your passwords and not because they are malicious, but somebody they know, right? If they have your password stuff and they get hacked, let's just make sure that you keep things as safe as you can. And you can't ensure for sure that somebody's not going to come after you.
Sure.
So let's not make it a cakewalk.
Yeah, absolutely. Use a secure password application. There's one that's being referred called LastPass. And interestingly enough, today in our office, we had a conversation about email passwords and security and safety and all of that. And LastPass allows you to use employee access, allow employees to have various access to certain things and not to other things. And it also allows group access for a team if that's something necessary, if you're all working on the same project or something like that.
And don't use the same password for everything for everything.
Whoops.
Switch it up a little bit, right? Switch it up a little bit so that when somebody gets into your Facebook account, they also don't have access to your bank account.
Yes.
Whoops. Mix these things up a little bit. And of course we've done all sorts of segments on what are good passwords and what are not good passwords.
Right.
Anything that spells out a word and it's in the dictionary or even in the Urban Dictionary or the Wiki Dictionary, not a good password.
Absolutely.
All right. What's the scariest thing that has ever happened to your business? What about if your online reputation gets destroyed?
Oh, that is scary, and that can happen.
We've seen where somebody goes online with a negative review, and so often the negative reviews often tell us more about the person writing the story, writing the review, than it does about the actual product or service or venue that they're reviewing about.
Right.
And so a lot of times if you look at one person's negative reviews and you see what else have they reviewed, and you can start to see a pattern that really it's all about them. But still, if it ends up on your own website and you know, on a website that's talking about you, we freak out because it has an impact on our bottom line. Is somebody else going to read that and
Right.
think that that's true and not do business with us because of it?
You want to avoid that at all costs. But if, you know, here's what you really need to do. The big message here is to make sure that you're something negative about you. Make sure you're aware. So we have set up a Google response that anytime somebody mentions Experience Pros or Angel Tussey or Eric Raymer, that comes to us to let us know that we've been mentioned, and then we get to follow up with whether or not it's good,
Right.
bad, or
And
indifferent.
it goes both ways. You want to know if your brand is being mentioned anywhere on the internet.
Right.
And so negatively, it's so that you can actually deal with that conversation. But positively, it allows you then to repurpose that marketing and those mentions on other places along the line. So never leave unhappy customers or followers unattended or ignored. If somebody comes in and leaves something negative, there needs to be a response. You don't have to deal with it right there on, have that conversation, but there needs to be a response.
A response, and yeah, absolutely don't have to. In fact, it's better not to deal with it immediately, because when you discover that somebody left a negative review, you have probably heightened feelings about that. Not the best time.
Always
to give
heightened
response.
feelings. What are you doing? You don't like my stuff.
So here's some other things you can do to somewhat avoid those things that might slander your online reputation. Avoid sensitive material when posting on social media, like politics, religion, race. Respect everyone's.
What does that leave?
That's a good question. But it boils down to respect and respecting everybody's opinion. They have the right to have the opinion. Doesn't mean they're right. You're not compromising your values or your core ideals, but respect. Try not to leave unhappy customers or followers unattended or ignored. Let's line that up with what we just told you. Count to 10, right? And maybe that's 10 minutes. Maybe that's 10 hours.
This is always, there's always so hopefully you have somebody that maybe you have hired or that you trust enough that understands the landscape of social media interaction that can actually reply on your behalf. If you feel as if you can't articulate and it might come off as sarcastic or the tone might be misinterpreted,
right?
Just have somebody else write the response. I mean, the response isn't, it isn't a long explanation, or it's just really just a response to say, hey, let's take this offline. Let's take care of this. And let's, have this phone conversation or have this, private email messaging, but let's take this offline and let's take care of you. But it says, yes, we saw it. We know you're unhappy and we want to resolve your unhappiness. And so if it's not you and you just think that, okay, I can't say that, I'm too heated, everything I type out comes off, with a sarcastic or negative tone, then let somebody else write it. Right?
Absolutely.
Actually, and then you can learn how to be more lovable on social media.
Right.
Right.
Which is always a good thing. You want to be like the cat.
Right. I think a lot of times, in fact, I had somebody not too long ago that was talking about wanting to be controversial. He on his presence here on the radio, and I get that. But remember, the point is you're trying to attract buyers.
Right.
You're trying to attract customers. You're trying to attract referral partners. You're trying to attract. So let's not turn off all the people. So when we think about social media, remember what you're trying to do there is to attract referrers. You can get followers, and I know you can be really controversial and grab followers, but what we're trying to do as small business owners is to grab business.
That's right.
And if they don't like you, and if there's controversy in the communication, they're not going to be leaning in the bent of, I want to do business with you and I want to send all my friends to do business with you.
You're going to end up isolating half your audience.
They might want to follow you. They might interact with you, and they might engage with you in those, heated conversations. Right. But if you're going to create something that isolates or alienates any of your target audience in that space, you might just want to rethink how you're using social media.
Absolutely.
And don't use it. Don't do it as your brand. This is probably where people get into having aliases, huh?
Probably.
Right. Yeah.
Probably.
I should have an alias out there that's all snarky. And
there's only really 26 people on Facebook. and all the rest of them are aliases.
Are aliases, so we can tell you what I really think.
Here's another scary thing that can happen in your business. You spend too much time thinking and not enough time actually doing. Now, thinking is important, but doing, you got to get her done. We'll be back right after these messages, folks. Thanks for tuning in. This is the Experience Pros Radio Network, home of positive business talk. For the archives of this broadcast, check out experiencepros.com.
You're listening to the Experience Pros Radio Show, America's home for positive business talk.